Let's talk with Urvashi. Today we are here again with Ezra Sinclair. This episode is the continuation from the previous episode. Please stay here, do listen about it, comment below what should we explore more, what should we talk about more. We can bring those kind of topics to this show. And I think I have a question about mindset. Because it seems that the confidence and mindset goes together. Okay, I want to share this experience that I'm a kind of a person who observes silently everything around. I observe people, I observe their life without them telling me. I kind of able to see through what's going on or how it is. So I see that including myself, we have 7 quadrant of life. And let's emotional health, physical health, relationships, finances, social life, and spiritual life. Sometimes I kind of juggle to balance it out, because I know that if one is not balanced, I'll be suffering. What kind of mindset I should have it, first of all, to deal with this basic thing with the all quadrant of my life?
Yeah, so like juggling these 7 areas, how do you manage to how do you manage to juggle them and consistently feel like you're on top of them?
Let's say, okay, let's say if I am trying to take care of my health, physical health, and I'm trying to take care of everybody, but then sometimes I forget to take care of myself. Like I don't make myself priority. So then if it becomes a habit, sometimes I have issues with health, like here and there. Let's say I'm trying to work, I'm 9 to 5, I'm working and I am taking care of the work and the home and everything, but then I don't have enough time to take care of social relationships. So then sometimes I try to manage everything together, but then I feel that the average working woman or working man, anybody, they always have some sort of imbalance. I think because there is not right mindset, or there is some level of less confident. Do you think it is so, or it is just my thinking?
Yeah, I love that question, and that's a great question to ask. I think it's very prominent in today's world for a lot of people who are very like empaths, say, to put others first and to put other things first. And definitely what you're saying with work, a lot of people will put work before anything else. And I think it's great to have that enthusiasm and that dedication, but really we're not, by putting all these things above ourselves, we're really, the end outcome is never as high as it could be if we put ourselves first. So like, I love to use the analogy of when you're on a plane, it always says as a safety instructions when you get on to put your own mask on first before you help others.
Yeah.
And I think in life, it's just the same. When we're doing something, we need to always make sure we're full before we're helping others. Because it's much better to give from an overflowing cup than to give from a half-empty cup.
Exactly.
And it's definitely, it's so easy. Like we think we're helping someone, you know, it doesn't matter. Like we're tired, we're feeling depleted, but oh, we need to take our kids out and go play football with them. But I feel like if you're not giving that child, or you're not giving that project, or you're not giving that task at hand 100% focused energy, then the outcome of whatever that is never going to be the outcome that you want it to be, or that it has the potential to be. So I think putting yourself first, although it may seem selfish, is actually very selfless in a lot of times. So not obviously like taking the biggest slice of pizza isn't necessarily, that's kind of more selfish, but making sure when you wake up in the morning, you do something for you that's going to revitalize your energy and your wellness levels before you jump into whatever you need to do. And I think that's super important. People tend to think, oh, if they're working, non-stop all day long, for their job, they're giving their job their best, and then they're going to bed, they're not having a good night's sleep, and then they're going back to work. But really, that day that they're spending there working all day long, tired, emotionally affected by their sleep, the work that they're doing is mediocre at best. And if they take that time to really think about how they're feeling and what they're doing for themselves first, the work is going to be much better. The end result is going to be much higher. Although it may seem, I know a lot of people struggle with anxiety and guilt over not putting other things first. And I completely get it. It's you want to be doing these things for other people and putting other people first, but in the end, it's really, really holds back your true potential, like your true potential of what could happen. So yeah, I think that was like a rundown of why, like what's important to do and put yourself first. And it is just, that's the best way I can explain it. Like on the plane, it's going to be really hard for you to put someone else's mask on if you can't breathe. But if you can breathe and you're full of energy, you're going to be giving that energy to everything that you're working on. And the outcome in the end is always going to be much greater and much higher reward. And you're going to be feeling more energized from doing these things than if you're always putting other things ahead of yourself.
So beautiful. You brought that thing which was very important to talk about. I feel what you said is like in the morning when you wake up, do something for yourself. So at that point, I want you to reflect on that. Do you feel that right now, wherever we are heading, like most people or the humanity, we are emphasizing on the physical health. We're eating food, we're eating organic food, we're going to gym, we're doing exercise. But do you feel that we are doing enough for emotional health? Is the stress and anxiety which is going, it has become a part of life. Like no matter what job, if somebody is doing, or if somebody's in the home and doing their own work, but like stress and anxiety is a part of a day-to-day life. So do you think it is time that we have to reflect on the emotional health, that why it is important?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the kind of hustle mentality is kind of brought a toxic, like work life kind of environment where people, it's easy when you're in a group to associate with the group. So it's easy to feel stressed and be like, oh, this is horrible, I don't want to do this. And then go to work and then see everyone's feeling the same way and then feel like, oh, okay, I just need to push on. And I think that has a lot to do with comparison with other people rather than using where you are with how you want to be or where you were when you were in a better place. You're comparing yourself to everything around you. So, and that's always going to be easy to do. It's always going to be easy to find someone who's got it worse than you, and it's easy to find someone who's got it better than you. But I think it's really important to have those check-ins with yourself and think about how you do feel and why you feel these ways. Like how I think I'm not saying everyone, like, if you feel stressed, you should just leave your job. I think it's important to think about why it's stressful for you and what is making you stress about this job, because you could leave a job and then join another job, and the same stresses are still going to be there. It's not necessarily the job or the place or the position that's stressing you out. It's that, you aren't giving yourself that time you need and to reflect, to stop, to pause, to break. And it could be as easy as just finding one thing that does give you that period of relaxation or that shutdown. I think a big thing with anxiety and work in our days now is people, if for someone who's working on a computer all day, they're working on a computer all day, and in their breaks, they're going on their phone. And I think this is really difficult for the human mind to deal with, because we're constantly hyper focused on what's in front of us, and we're working, and then all we do is go back to being hyper focused on what's in front of us, but then seeing all these things of whatever we're looking at, of other people, maybe perhaps on holiday or perhaps somewhere else, not at work or doing a different job, and then you get jealous of that, and then you want to do that, and then you think, why am I doing this? And you'll then again compare, don't know. But you're then
Comparison.
comparing, but you're then
Okay.
comparing yourself to the other people but you're only seeing that one thing as well. So on it, you only see what they want to show you. So you're just seeing that one thing. You have no idea what's going on in their life, what they're doing. And it becomes really hard for your brain to kind of shut off. And it's like, this is why I like to think about it as if you had your computer and you're at work and you're on Google, or you're on your internet browser, and you have all the tabs open. You've got 150 tabs there, and you're working along, and then it's like time for a break. And instead of closing all the tabs down, you just open more tabs, and you're just going on your phone. So it's just your head's just running and running and running and running, and it keeps running, and then it keeps going, and then you go off, and then you go back to your work tabs, and they're still all open, and they're just slowing you down slowly. But if when we're at work or wherever we are, or what we're doing, we're on the computer, we take a step back and we do something that's more wellness orientated. So we put the phone down, we go for a walk, we go outside, we get some sunlight, we have a snack, or we have some water, or we go and talk to someone, or we go walk around wherever, or do some exercise. We're getting all those tabs and we're saving them all in the back of our head, and we're like dealing with the information in those tabs. And then when we come back, it's all refreshed and all new, and you can start again. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't do. And especially even after work, you say if you've got to, for whatever reason, you've got to work all through the day. Then people go home and then they sit on Netflix, and it's just the same thing. It's just the same thing going in your head. And it's like you never have time to shut off your head and like rejuvenate your mind for the day. So I think like with anxiety and things like that, it's just your mind is constantly somewhere. And especially if you're working and you're working and you've got your phone next to you, and you're on a break, you're going on your phone. Now, when you're working, you're going to be constantly think that in the back of your mind, your phone's right there. You can go on that, you can click on that. So it's like really breaks down focus. And at the end of the day, you can kind of feel like you haven't got what you wanted done, because you've been split between all these things, your phone and rather than having those small breaks to declutter your mind, you're just filling it up again. So I think like something to think about is just to really pause and have that time in your life to restart during the day.
Great. That was a great analogy, what you said, that we slow down because all the tabs are open. So that was wonderful. What what my understanding was initially, that if I am taking care of everything's everything will work out. But sometimes that even if I'm taking care of my all the responsibilities,
Mhm.
end of the day certain things doesn't work out, and what my mind was telling me that, oh, I could have done it better, or I could have
Mm.
more efforts. What would you tell that kind of mindset, that okay, like how do I set up my mindset from that point, like I could have done it better, to that
Mm.
mindset, like okay, whatever I did was enough and that is okay, like okay, this is
Mm.
not end of the world, like I'm gonna try tomorrow. How do I switch my mindset from here to there?
That's a great question, and I think again, something a lot of people deal with, and being confident in your past is hard. Like understanding that you've made the right decisions every time. I don't think anyone ever gets to the place where they are like make the right decisions every single, like the not necessarily right, but the most beneficial for a certain thing. Or the get doesn't get the like always makes the decision that makes the outcome that they wanted. I think with making decisions and thinking, oh, I could this could have been better, that could have been better. I think there's always two things that people are doing, and like it's really important. If it's really important to reflect on what's going on and what's happened. So reflecting on like truly what has happened, rather than beating yourself up about making decisions, I don't think is beneficial at all at any time. But reflecting on what's happened honestly is very beneficial. And like there's always a lesson to be learned from every decision that we make. If we make the decision that doesn't get the outcome we want, why is that decision not, why the decision we've made not got the outcome that
Mm,
we want? How is the outcome that we want grown us, and what have we learned? What have we gained from the outcome? Because there's always something to be gained from every situation. There's always something. And although it can be hard when you've made a decision and it hasn't come out how you wanted, to get emotional and reactive to it
mm,
rather than looking for what is right. A lot of people seem to look for, what's wrong.
mm,
But, and do we truly know like what has been the right decision? Because until we're way further down the road, we never know how that decision has benefited us fully.
mm,
So I think if you're in a position where you're always thinking, oh, I should have done this, I should have done this, I think it's important to look back on all the times that the thing you've done, what seemed wrong, has led, what seemed like not the outcome or the wrong decision, has led to a great path and a great way for you.
mm,
And to also look back at all the things you have done that have led you right and have put you to the right position. I see a lot of people who are at the top of their game and who have very successful businesses are the ones who make decisions and those decisions end up to be the bad choice or the bad decision. And it's those ones that getting up from being in those places where they've made the bad decision, they've made the wrong turn and everything's gone to zero, or they've put themselves in the deepest hole. It's those holes that have always spurred them on and made them grow into the people that they need to be to get where they are now and to get into those most successful places. So I think it's hard for us to, it's easy to get upset about, oh, I could have done this better, I could have done this better, I could have done that better. But everyone's on a learning like curve.
mm,
And if you're just looking back at how far you really have come and how far you've grown, it's much easier to be like, okay, I made this decision, but it's still it's still the right decision for the time, and it's still leading me to where I need to go. But what have I learned? Like, how can I grow? How can I be better? But this is exactly what I needed. I always believe that every decision you make is exactly the decision you need to make at the time for whatever reason. I don't understand like the whole universe and how it all works, but just doing that and learning from it is what's going to really grow you and move you forward.
Brilliant.